Gentlemen up here will be answering your questions. So the idea is that you guys can come up and ask questions and ask them to one of the candidates or all three of the candidates for them to respond. But it's not for them to debate. I'll moderate and that'll be like, okay, that's cool, but we just will want to move on. And we want to be respectful of everybody, right? I understand politics, right? It's not exactly like a super non-emotional thing, and people have a big, strong feelings about things, and we completely understand that. But we do ask that everyone is respectful to one another, that they're respectful, that you all are respectful to the candidates. Maybe it's a candidate that you support, or maybe it's a candidate you don't support. So we will not tolerate name calling here tonight. Unless you want to call me beautiful, then I'm totally fine with that. Okay, so I think everyone's good with that, right? We're all friends, we're all neighbors, and I think we just want to just get some good information and get some great information about these three candidates that are hoping to be the Republican candidate for next week, right? Is the primary. So we do want to first have a quick introduction from all of our candidates here. So if we want to start with Mr. Oscarson, and we can just work our way down, is that okay? Or do we want to start with? Okay, does that work?
Yeah, whatever you like to do, John. Happy to. Well, I thank you all for being here. My name is James Oscarson. I know we're limited to 2 minutes according to the instructions, so just want to tell you I'm glad to be in the assembly for your park openings and your school groundbreakings, and seen this area grow tremendously in the last 6 years. It's great to have the growth. It's great to have the kids and the family-oriented lifestyles that you all moved here for, I believe. We've made a lot of great moves in the state of Nevada. The state of Nevada is a great place to live. Providence is a great place to live as well. So thank you for having us. Look forward to your questions and the dialogue.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, hello. Thank you for coming. I'm Dr. Joseph Bradley. I am a board-certified addictionologist, and I work for a treatment center here in Las Vegas. And I've thoroughly researched all the issues and have a lot of good ideas about in Nye County and Lincoln County. But tonight we get to be here in Clark County. I live in Clark County. I'm actually 2 minutes. This is fun because usually I drive about an hour and a half, and today it was like 2 minutes, gotta go. So what we need to understand is that the rural area is important, all the areas are important, but I think whereas the rurals get lost from a state level, I think when you're talking about Assembly District 36, Las Vegas gets lost. This area gets lost because it's all about the rurals. And what I've done is I've been an educator for years. I've been in healthcare. I treat the #1 healthcare concern in the United States. Just created, since the last debates that I was working on it finished, created a program for our veterans suffering from chemical dependency and PTSD. It's been accepted. We launched it on June 18th. We will become here in Las Vegas a national destination for the Veterans Affairs. And so again, these are real issues that not talking about them, I'm busy being involved in doing them. So if you're being here in Las Vegas, being your neighbor, I think I know a lot more about what's going on at the promenade at Providence than my opponents, and I hope we get a lot of questions, not just about the state, but specifically what's going to affect you here where you live. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rob?
Hi, I'm Dennis Hoff. I'm a 42-year businessman in Nevada. I've been a lot of small businesses all my life, and I joined this race because I'm the commerce tax, to be honest with you. I was with Tucker Carlson in New York City, who wrote a chapter in my book, and I was complaining about the commerce tax, and I didn't understand why a lot of the Republicans who don't want high taxes and they want small government would vote for this tax. And Tucker says, Dennis, you just got to do something about it. Jump in the race and do something. So here I am, and I'm concerned about a lot of things. And I'm concerned about the Second Amendment. And your city councilwoman, Michelle Fiore, who's a very close friend of mine and supports me, was concerned that she couldn't, when she was in the assembly, that she couldn't get campus carry through. And my opponent voted against it. He voted for the commerce tax. It's cost every one of you, if you have an average income, it's going to cost you $700 a year. And the story was, it only affects businesses that have $4 million in business a year. Well, it's not true, because if you get your cell phone, you're going to look at it, and it says commerce tax on the bottom. When you buy your license plates, there's additional costs. It's just cost after cost after cost. And some of them you can't pass on, like Jim Marsh, who supports me. Jim, when I talked to him a few days ago, said, Dennis, I'm spending $120,000 a year on this commerce tax. And it's got to go away. You got to get elected, and we've got to get this repealed. And I've been working with Ron Connect to get it repealed. Laxalt has said that he's against it. And that $120,000 that Jim Marsh pays every year, it comes out of your pocket when you buy a car. It's just an add-on tax that we can't pass on, like in my gas stations. I had gas stations, truck stops, things like that, and there's products in there that have this tax. And I looked at this and said, this is crazy. So when the Nye County Republican Party excommunicated Mr. Oscarson, I went to Michael McDonald, the chairman of the Republican Party, and said, I want to join the party, I want to be a part of things, and I want to be the rhino hunter. I gave money to everybody that was running against one of the Republicans in name only that voted for this commerce tax. And I think I can do a better job. It's time to get people that sign the front of paychecks looking at these budgets in Carson City than people in the back. I know how to run a business. I've got all kinds of businesses, you know, like I said, truck stops, gas stations, convenience stores, restaurants, apartment complex, bars, nightclubs.
I'm sorry, that's about 2 minutes there.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to move right on. Yeah, we're gonna move
Thank
right
you.
on. Thank you. Okay, so with that, what we're going to do is, should you have any questions, again, like I said, we're just gonna ask our questions. If you could though, please come up here so we can catch you on the microphone so everyone can hear your question. And if you wouldn't mind saying at least your first name. So does anyone have any questions that they'd like to start off with?
Don't be bashful. You'll be on the way home saying, I wish I would have asked him that.
Okay, well, come on up. Thank you. Our first question asker.
Did I need to come up here?
Yes, no, because I need you on the mic.
Okay.
Because we're filming. Oh, did I tell everyone we're filming this? So will be put out later.
Mr. Hoff, you mentioned the commerce tax. I would like the doctor, please, for those that don't know, what exactly is the commerce tax? And then the follow-up question would be for Mr. Oscarson, why he voted for it.
You want me to explain what the commerce tax is?
Yes, sir.
Well, it starts out, quote, for the privilege of operating a business in this state, unquote. There is a commerce tax. The commerce tax taxes those businesses that gross over $4 million. Now, within it, there's also a modified business tax. The modified business tax says that after you reach $50,000 per quarter, you go to an increased tax level. Now, also in conjunction with that, there is increased in fees and revenues that go with registering as a corporation, licensure fees. They also put in something that I'm specifically against, which is an increase by $1 to cigarettes. Now, I am not in favor of people smoking, and people shouldn't smoke, but I'm against government trying to dictate what we do through raising of money. And if it was really, the Human Health Services wrote a letter, and in that letter they said, we want to try to help this healthcare issue and this drain on the state of Nevada because of the increased disease due to smoking. If that were true, then they would have taken the money, put it towards smoking cessation classes in places where I work at, where we could help people stop. But it wasn't. It was done so that it was a guaranteed tax generator for people that weren't going to stop. And I'll tell you where this gets scary, and everyone needs to be concerned about. You don't smoke. Who cares? Let them pay more. Well, obesity is the cause of even more health care concerns. Nye County is the most obese county in the state of Nevada. It's listed as the most obese. Diabetes, heart disease, liver disease, kidney disease, obesity plays a role. So is the government now going to say that 99-cent menu, it's now $1.99, because when you buy the burger for 99 cents, it's $1.99, because we want to reduce this. It becomes dangerous. Your soda, extra $1. Your chocolate bar, extra $1. It's not about the principle behind it. It's about the government trying to dictate our behavior through taxes. And that's not the job of government, it's to help us. If you truly want to help, take that money, put it towards helping smoking cessation, not just making it a guaranteed tax revenue. I could go more. Does that answer your question?
It answered my question because I was talking about the commerce tax and you talked about this.
Well, you have the commerce tax, the
All taxes.
yeah, it all goes into it.
It's okay, Mr.
Could you
Osborson.
repeat your question for me, please?
I asked the doctor, what is the commerce tax?
Right.
Hopefully he's explained it properly to your understanding. I understand that you voted for it, and so I wanted to know why you voted for it.
I did vote for it. There are some nuances that Dr. Bradley, and simply because he wasn't there when we voted on it and what was going on, were kind of not accurate in what we did there. Basically, what the commerce tax was designed to do, we have schools that are failing in the state of Nevada, miserably failing. And when companies like Tesla and companies like Switch and companies like I'm trying to think. The larger companies that we're attracting through GoEd and those other entities and organizations are coming here. Tesla is not saying to us that we can't bring employees here simply because your school system is failing, basically failing. The legislature had to make a difficult decision. Listen, I'm a small tax, low, business guy, local government kind of control things. This was an issue that simply we had to get some money rolling into school districts to improve what was going on. From those funds, currently right now, the Nye County School District, the Clark County School District, the Lincoln County School District receive funds for read by 3 programs, lower classroom size. They also receive money for English language learners, and in addition to that, our read by 3 programs. Those were some very difficult decisions. It's very difficult not to be able to educate your children. There was some tough decisions that had to be made toward the end of the legislative session. The least onerous it could possibly be. It started out much worse than it was, and we as a group of legislators, in a bipartisan way, voted to support education, and that's what I believe the commerce tax is a support of education. We're not there yet. Got a long ways to go. It's too much top heavy. I can't be responsible for the fiduciary responsibilities of school districts themselves and how they handle their funds. The state's responsibility is to provide statutory funding for them to be able to do their job. It's up to them at that point in time to do the right thing, educate their children, keep their classroom sizes reduced, and make sure that they have the proper people in place to make sure that schools are able to educate children.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And although not a debate, once something comes up, can we kind of tag on a little bit, like talking about education and money?
I would prefer not to, because we want to make sure that we keep it just to the residents and their questions.
Sure.
Now, should they want you to follow up, that's definitely a possibility, but that's probably going to be our better way to keep us more in line with the.
There's a lot to follow up on the commerce tax.
I'm sorry?
I said there's a lot to follow up on the commerce tax.
Okay, with that being said, who else do we have that has a question for one of the candidates or all the candidates? No one. So we're all here. No one wants to ask a question. We did receive a question via an email that was sent to our office earlier today. The question was, and Dr. Bradley, actually, you kind of touched on it a tiny bit, was how do you represent Providence as a community when a lot of the focus is focused on the Pahrump area and the Lincoln and Nye counties? And that question is for all 3. If you want to start.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and start if you'd like. I think it's very important. We have a huge district. It goes from Moapa and Loyalton up in that area all the way up to Tonopah and Round Mountain. It's a 6-hour drive. Do I know as much about this district as I should? Nope, because I'm not here all the time. But I know who to call. I know how to call Michelle Fiore, who supports me, and she can give me what the issues are. She's told me what a lot of them are for you folks. Immigration is one, and there's a lot of things that are unique to your area as a growing area. We're worried about a lot of things. The sanctuary city, the Democrats have taken over this Las Vegas area, and we need to get everybody out, the Republicans, to get them to sign up and vote because it's a problem. And what I'll do is reach out to all of you and say, what are your problems, and how how can I serve you best when I'm in the legislature? On all my mailers, I put my phone number. You know, Warren Buffett taught me 25 years ago, answer your phone. I answer my phone all day long. So just call me, and whatever your issues are, I'll work with you on it.
Thank you. Dr. Bradley?
So I'm going to kind of start a little bit broader and then narrow. And I will take it to education because it applies. There are some issues that affect every area. When we talk about money, the national average spend per child is $8,400. Nye County spends $12,000 per child, so just money alone isn't the answer. Clark County spends $8,500 per child, still above the national average, yet we're ranking 49th. Utah, which spends $6,500 per child, has a lower class ratio, teacher to student ratio, ranks 17, we rank 49. We're not meeting students where their needs are. We have IEPs, we have 504s for disabilities and the environment, but the bureaucracy within the Clark County School District now is such that there are more administrators than teachers. And what I propose specifically in a district, I believe Clark County School District is like, I could be wrong, it's like the 5th biggest in the country. It's huge. It's is that principals, we start from the bottom and go up. There should be a panel of principals. Principals know best what their teachers need and students need. This panel of principals get together and determine what their specific needs are, take those needs to the district to get assistance rather than the district telling them what they get. That's the first thing. Now let's narrow it down. Most people here in this room probably know about the violence that occurred from Escobedo School where the kids attacked that lady. Also, there was a thing right around the corner here where it was posted where a father had, someone had tried to grab his daughter. It was as though he was worried about it almost being an abduction type of thing. In the Promenade at Providence, what I'd like to ask everyone here, anybody know what the address is of the Promenade at Providence? 7195, yeah. But if you were in a scary situation, would you know? Because I'll tell you what happened. My daughter, 11 years old, at the Promenade at Providence, an adult sees her and says, "Oh, I thought you were a grown woman." I won't go further than that, but that's where it all started. And so by the time I get here and the person's here, I call the police. Police are like, "Where are you?" Now at this point, the guy knows I'm on the phone with the police, and he's getting uppity. And so I'm sitting at the Promenade of Providence. Where's that? Well, you have the Brighton community. We're just north of that, which is just north of Knickerbocker Park. Okay, what's the address? I don't know what the address is, but Knickerbocker Park, we had a couple shootings there. You probably remember this. I'm saying this to the dispatcher. "Sir, I can't get the police out there if we don't know where you're at." Long story short, he ran off, scuffled with one of the Providence security people, and 10 minutes went by, and we still didn't have the police responding. Finally, when they did come, an hour and a half or so later, they were very gracious and everything else, and they took a report. Imagine if this was a violent crime in progress. Just imagine. I mean, it's ridiculous. What I'd like to see done is places like the Promenade at Providence, every park. Why doesn't the local police department know it by name? And when you say it by name, they can pull it up by name and know where you're at. Because when the police came and I said the Promenade at Providence, they go, "Yeah, we know where that is." But the dispatcher's trying to get all this information to give to them before they're sending them to what was at that point an in-progress violent crime. This is a very simple fix. We should have these things. Our kids walk from the school through the Promenade at Providence every single day. Something happens, call the police, and they don't know where you are. This is a very simple fix. It affects us immediately. How easy is that? The name recognition, they have it. Boom, done. Because again, would you know what the address was if there was a guy pointing a gun at you?
Thank you. Thank you for your response. Mr. Oscarson.
Thank you. As I said in my opening remarks, I've spent a great deal of time here in this community. While I don't know it as well as I'd like to, we do have a large district. It goes absolutely from Prim Jean Sandy Valley all the way up to the Eureka County line, which is a significant distance to cover and travel with people spread out all over those areas and those rural areas. This is the most concentrated concentrated urban area that we have. The growth and development and the things like community policing that your homeowners association and your legislators would be happy to work with the Metropolitan Police Department to make sure that there was access to the police. They were indeed, as Dr. Bradley says, we're familiar with the area a little more. People that have the officers that know these areas and live in these areas. I'm sure you have many Metro officers that live in these areas. We certainly need to step up when some of these incidents that are occurring in your areas, in our areas as well. They happen all over the state, unfortunately. It's not unique, but it's unique because it's part of my constituency and part of the people that I represent. I want to make sure that you feel safe when your kids are out. Things happen that are unfortunate in many instances, but we need to be able to have a quicker response in that. And certainly I would be happy to work with the next sheriff and continue to work with the sheriffs in all of the counties that I represent to make sure that you guys have the protection you feel like you need and the safety you need.
Thank you very much. Okay, we've had a few questions. Who wants to come on up? I know somebody does. I see it in everybody's face. It's like that awful thing at school, right? Like, come to the front of the class, come on.
We won't look.
No questions? So if there are no more questions, then what we could do is we could recess early and we could allow the candidates to mix and mingle with you all. We are holding to an 8 o'clock departure though, just out of respect for everybody's time here this evening. So if there are no further questions that you would like to make on the town hall portion of the evening, that's not a problem. We absolutely will have the room open and you're able to mix and mingle with the candidates as you see fit. Sound good?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much for coming here this
Thank
evening.
you.
We appreciate it. We know it's a little difficult with the Knights game tonight, so no offense to you guys, but you know.
Tough to compete with the winning hockey team.
Sorry. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.